Welcome to the Beilein Show. Hello, world. It is so good to have you guys join me. I know it's been a while, just the amount of things I've been doing outside of the show, traveling, mentorship, school, started back from my summer classes. I've just had a lot going on. So I thank you guys for being patient with me. I've also just been in the process of trying to finish up this season and make sure I get the proper guests to end it on the right way. And I think we're going to have a great guest to end these last 8 episodes. Without me talking too much, though, let's introduce our guest for this week, Coach Wesley Brooks. Woo!
Thank you for the welcome.
Of course. First of all, thank you for joining me. It means so much to me. And how's everything going for you? I know it's midst of, I'm sure, a lot of recruiting and traveling right now, but how's everything going for you, man?
Well, good. Everything's well. We actually start recruiting and traveling here in a few weeks. We actually started summer workouts last week, so we're excited about that. Was right before this call, which is with the staff planning a little practice and getting ready for the next 2 workouts here over the next couple of days.
That's awesome. Real quick before we get things started, Coach, if you don't mind, just for people watching and listening, do you mind giving the people just a quick overview about yourself, just maybe where you're from, what you're doing now in your career, and just some things you've been able to do across your lifetime to get you where you are today?
Well, yeah, originally grew up Richmond, Virginia, then went to West Virginia University where I started as a student manager. Then from West Virginia University as a student manager, I became a graduate assistant on the women's side at West Virginia University under Mike Carey. And then after that, went to Robert Morris University as an assistant coach. And then there we won an NEC championship. And then from there, Texas Southern in North Texas. I spent 7 years in Texas before heading to the University of Utah with Lynn Roberts, and then left Utah to go to Michigan. Then went from Michigan, was 4 years at Michigan, helped Michigan get to their first Sweet 16 ever. Had the privilege of coaching Nas Hillman and Leah Brown, who are currently playing professional. Nas with the Atlanta Dream. Leah Brown was with Connecticut last year. And then the last 3 years, just had a magical run at The Ohio State University. Obviously, we had 2 Big Ten championships, Elite 8 appearances, Sweet 16 appearance, 3 NCAA tournaments, and actually pros with Celeste Taylor, J.C. Sheldon, Taylor Mikesell. And then also their future pros on that team, Cody McMahon, Taylor Theory. So just a run that any coach would love to have over the last 7 years with those 2 programs. And now I'm the head coach at Utah State University, and we have a rebuilding situation here, but we're off to a good start with the rebuild, and we're looking to make some headways and just take it one day at a time and get better.
Coach, I want to start right there. Utah State, so many years as an assistant coach, and you've now finally got the opportunity to now be a head coach. What is that feeling like right now for you? And when you got that phone call, what went through your head that you were finally able to have your own program and run your own things your way?
Well, to get the phone call was a dream come true. You work so hard to get to this point. And, you kind of write and set goals. And I always had a goal. I wanted to be a head coach by the time I'm 42. So met that goal, which, it's kind of weird, when people say write down all your goals and go after them if you do. And when I've written down all my goals and gone after them, they've actually come true. So it's something to that. Don't know exactly the magic to it, but it's something to it. So just excited to get it. And then every day as an assistant coach, I tried to prepare myself to be a head coach. I always took notes in practice, always saved film. If you go to my house now, I got to throw out some stuff because I have videotapes and practice notes from over 17 years of practices. Wow. And so it's this clutter. And so now at this point, I need to digitize as well as this scale down some stuff and kind of, put it together in my system. But, I've always prepared myself to be a head coach. And so now just making decisions every day as a head coach and leading people and helping people get to where they want to go.
That's awesome. And I want to ask you on this topic as well, too. I know season obviously hasn't started yet and you're still kind of just getting your feet wet in this system. But have things been, I say different as a head coach compared to an assistant coach in terms of maybe like recruiting, and now with, the way NIL and transfer portal is, maybe how have you gone about things as a head coach that maybe you didn't have to as an assistant coach in terms of recruiting and just kind of fundamentally doing things your way?
I think we do everything. I think as an assistant coach, I kind of was always trying to help the head coach like I was a head coach. I think the biggest thing as a head coach for me is that my brain never turns off. You're always trying to think. You're always trying to push time forward, and you can't push time forward. You have to take every day at every step at one time. And so you realize, as one of my mentors told me, John Beilein, he said, Wes, you can do anything, you can't do everything. And so you have to pick and choose what you do that day. Like in practice today, I had a whole practice plan and we couldn't get through it, but we had to focus in on certain things and get certain things right. And so I think that's the biggest thing, is trying to put everything in one place. As they say, you don't eat an elephant in one big bite. You got to just do small bites and take it one day at a time, one drill at a time. And so I think that's the biggest thing for me, is this: your brain never cuts off, and you want to do everything and get there quick, but it's a process to get in there. So.
Yes, sir. Well, let's take it back. You said born in Richmond, Virginia. What was growing up in Virginia like for you? And as well, I want to ask, where did your love for sports and coaching come from? Is that something that was just kind of installed at you at a young age? Did you kind of get into that later in your childhood? Where did your love for sports and coaching come from?
Well, I've always been a sports kid. Ever since 4 or 5 years old, I would make my own schedules up in the backyard. I would play every sport: football, basketball, baseball, with friends.
Yeah.
I always imagined running my own program. So at a young age, I knew I kind of wanted to do this. And then went to West Virginia University. I mean, played sports all my life: football, basketball, all that stuff. Went to West Virginia University, did not play college ball, but was a manager. And then my first season at West Virginia, we weren't too good on the men's side. And so I was like, man, I definitely need to make an impact and coach. So at that point, I decided to go into coaching and really pursue it. And so that's kind of how my love for I've just always loved sports. So then just the ability to impact people's lives and think I can do it at a high level. And then another thing I have a passion for is just success. I love being successful in any walk of life, winning, making money, whatever it takes. I just like being successful, and I like success. So I read a lot of leadership books, listen to a lot of leadership talks, listen to a lot of motivational stuff, because that's just me. I try and study success. And so I think it's huge for me to help others. That's kind of my kind of get my go-to, and kind of the thrill I get in coaching.
I love that you said that, because when you were introduced as the head coach of Utah State in your press conference, you said that your team will be prevalent in the community and work outside, not just basketball, but around the community. And as well, they will inspire the next generation of basketball players. I hear this from you. Why are things like that so important to you? Why is it, although basketball is so important for you, why is the impact that it can make on lives and the things that it can do for generations so important for you as well?
I mean, because sports changes lives. Sports gives you the discipline, time management. If it wasn't for basketball, I wouldn't be here. Basketball's allowed me to go all the way around the world. I think it's a couple of things. So the motto of our program is empower, compete, and conquer. So obviously, we want to empower our student athletes on the court. We want to give them all the skills on the court, all the tools on the court, so that they can win the games on the court, right? We want to make sure our film is right, make sure our practices is right, make sure our health is right, our eating, our nutrition, mentally, athletic training, all of that, right? So that's the empowering on the court so that we can win games. And then off the court, I always say it's a shame if you go to college and you just go back home with a degree. I mean, people are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to college. Kids are spending all this time in college, and for you to go home with no job, not going to grad school, not having an opportunity to go pro, I mean, that's kind of it's kind of pointless. You could have saved time and money and not gone to college.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, I just think it's important to empower. And then at some point, that ball's going to stop bouncing one day. So I think you spend the next 4 years or 5 years of your life to get organized for the next 40 or 50 years of your life. It's supposed to give you a head start. That's the whole purpose of college. Yes, so I don't think we need to lose the point of going to college. And so it's very important to me that we empower our student athletes on and off the court so they can conquer, so they can compete in society and compete on and off the court and then conquer. So empower, compete, and conquer is the theme of our program. That's what I'm about. If you ask me what the mission statement is, that's what we want to do. We want to empower, compete, and conquer. Always, it's about winning. I love to win. Some people say I hate losing more than winning. Not to me. I just love winning. I mean, if we lose, you lose, because losing is a part of the journey. If you lose, you're going to learn a lesson in that loss. So I just love winning. I love success. I love the thrill of success. So that's kind of me.
I love that. And I kind of just took what you said and it kind of resonated in my mind to hopefully maybe inspire me a little bit. I hope it does the same thing for somebody listening. I want to ask you, Coach, you attended West Virginia University. Was that your first option? Did you have any other options you thought about going to college, and what was the kind of deciding factor you ended up at West Virginia?
I went to West Virginia because it was like one of those options where financially it was good for me at the time.
Yes, sir.
Also, I had some friends there. It was just at the time, I saw it as a nice school, close to home, not too far from home, but good away. So it was just the right fit for me at the time. And it was the greatest time of my life in college. I spent 5 years undergrad, and I started working there for grad school, and then had their basketball operations on the women's side. So spent 8 years at West Virginia University. So Mountaineer at heart, love the university, love what it stands for. Love how they gave me the opportunity, and it's just a special place.
Yes, sir. You talked earlier about John Beilein and how he has been a mentor in your life. I know you were able to be a manager during your time in college under his program. What was he like as a coach? And as well, what were maybe some of the things that he taught you that have helped prepare you to be a head coach now?
That's a great question. So as a coach, very meticulous. Always emphasized to me that shooting's the most important thing in basketball.
Yes, sir.
Because it's called basketball for a reason. So this actually was talked to him a couple of weeks ago. We talked about that. So shooting, this meticulous planning, understanding, like I told you before, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. So understand that. Another one of his mottos was be here now, meaning you have to be present where you're at. Some people like this, where your feet are, but be here now. So we all will emphasize that to our team as well. Being present in the moment, staying in the moment, handling your business. And then just teaching life lessons, there's different variety of different things, from how to make a budget, how to plan your time, all of that. But very impactful, very influential on my life, very influential on the way I coach. And so it's just, he was kind of ahead of his time at the time when he was doing the stuff that he's doing with the spread offense and the 5 shooting the 3. That was way ahead of his time when he coached. Now everybody does it, so it's not so wow anymore, because a lot of people are coaching like he is now. But this had a very impact in my life, and it's known me for a long time. Yeah.
I want to ask you, Coach, if you could give a piece of advice to people that are maybe in that realm of starting their coaching career, or starting in the realm of assistant coach, and want to be a head coach one day, what advice would you give to them that maybe they could take and help elevate their career? What advice would you give to people that are maybe once in your shoes that are now trying to get where you are?
Yeah, I'll say be a sponge, save your notes, save your practice plans, video. If you have video now, get a hard drive, save video of practices on your hard drive. But just be a sponge and absorb. Like I told you before, I'm a pack rat, so I've saved a lot of stuff over the years. I've gone back and studied it, and that's kind of helped me, and it's really helped me as I begin to implement and teach what I want to do. And then you just learning from a variety of people. Every experience, even though it could be a bad experience, can be a good experience if you make the most of it. And so that's kind of life. And I didn't know I always wanted to be a head coach by the time I was 42. But I didn't realize I was really going to get there. And so some days it looked like I wasn't, but now I'm here and I'm grateful for it. And like I said, just be a sponge and absorb and try and learn as much as you can.
Yes, sir. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. You kind of spent the time after graduating from West Virginia as a graduate assistant there, and then you would move on to Robert Morris, kind of being your first real coaching job. Mm-hmm. What was that opportunity like for you? And as well, how did you gain that opportunity to go to Robert Morris and become a coach there?
Well, it's funny. Coach Beilein, that's like I say, he's had a tremendous impact in my life.
Yes, sir.
So he knew Sal Pascalia, who was the women's coach at the time.
Yes,
They were both from Buffalo. So he kind of gave me the recommendation. Sal hired me. And then that opportunity I got to do the offense and put in the offense there. So that was when kind of like the dribble drive spread motion offense kind of first came out. So helped put that in. But this good learning experience. Got to learn how to coach, got to get on the floor for the first time. So that's kind of what that experience was like. And like I always say, tell people your network is your net worth. You need to network and really meet as many people as you can, connect with many people as you can, and just do the best job you can wherever you go, because you never know who's watching you, and you never know who's going to say, hey, that's the person, that's the guy, or that's the woman, so you just never know. So always do your best job wherever you can and try and network and meet people and be as friendly as you can with people.
I love that. I really do, because that's one of my mottos too. And my mom taught me that at a young age that, connections will get you where you want to go in life. So I love to hear from someone.
Because it's Dalen, it's true. It's, people's like, it's who you know that gets you there is what you know that keeps you there. And so that's why it's important to know be good at what you do. But nobody cares what you do until they know who you know. And so it's who you know that gets you there and what you know that keeps you there.
Absolutely. Thank you. I love that. I want to ask you, because I love asking people that have been around the women's game for such a long time. And I've had such a joy of watching women play basketball for a long time. And I think I'm this advocate now that the way that it is seen now and the elevation it has reached now and the heights it has reached now, I want to ask you, you being a part of it and you being a coach within the women's game for so long, how kind of cool is it for you to kind of see that the WNBA and women's basketball in college is getting the recognition it deserves? The women are getting the respect that they deserve. And now their games and names are kind of being reached at heights they haven't been before.
Well, it's excellent. I mean, it's kind of crazy just to see the growth of the game. Like I told you, ever since I was a little boy, I was a big basketball fan. So my first experience with women's basketball was back in 1993 in Richmond, Virginia, when the Final Four was held in Richmond, Virginia, and North Carolina played Louisiana Tech for the national championship. Charlotte Smith hits the game-winning shot to win the national championship for North Carolina. It would be Sylvia Hatchell's only championship she would win. But on that team was Marion Jones, Charlotte Smith, Sylvia Crawley, LaTanya Sampson. I mean, they had players. On the other end, Louisiana Tech had Leon Barmore coaching. So Leon Barmore actually coached with Kim Mulkey back in the day. I mean, so that was my first big women's basketball. And then after that, I became a fan. And so obviously it wasn't as big as it is now, but I know those players. And so I kind of followed the game. And then when I got to college, I was a men's basketball manager, but I would still go to the women's games and all of that, and then even I remember watching Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird when I was at West Virginia, and West Virginia was in the Big East with UConn. Then I actually got to coach it. And so just seeing the game grow and seeing all the players go, I mean, women's basketball, there have been players, really good players for years and years and years. Yes. And now just to see the recognition of it is amazing, how the game has grown. The players are really skilled. And I think the athleticism has always been there, but the skill is there. And there's been really good players forever, but it's just nice to see the recognition. I mean, you got the Teresa Weatherspoons that have been good, the Cynthia Coopers that have been good.
Yes.
Lisa Leslie, Don Staley, Olympic legend, Olympic legends at the Olympic legends. So, I mean, it's just nice to see it, and they deserve it. They've earned it. And it's great where the game is, and it's going to continue to grow.
Let's go back to kind of your career, coach career a little bit. You spent time with Robert Morris, and I know you went to Texas Southern and North Texas. Throughout that time, you continued to elevate where you went in terms of just the Power 5 conferences. When you got the opportunity to go to Utah, were there any differences that you saw maybe in terms of the level of play, the level of intensity, the speed of the game? Were there any differences at all that you saw from kind of spending time as a coach in lower levels of programs in terms of before you got to Utah?
Yes. I mean, the players, when you get the higher you go, the players are just really, really good. I think I learned as a coach the importance of player development. When you get to the higher level, you have to do player development every day. You have to help your players get better every day, especially during the season. And then it's the importance of preparation. But I think there is a difference. Obviously in resources, obviously, just in just the skill of the player, so they're there for a reason. But you learn at every level. You learn how to coach at every level. You learn how to deal with people. But yeah, there is a difference between the Texas Southerners and North Texas, even Utah State right now, and the Ohio States and Michigans. There's a difference.
Yes, sir.
And so obviously what you try and do when you're in a position like me at Utah State, you try and emulate that. You try and model that. Yes, and you try and get the best players you can to get that, to model that. Because what you want to do is prepare yourself and build a program that if you do run into those people, you can give them a scare or you can beat them if you catch them on the right day. And so that's kind of what we're trying to do here. And you see throughout the country, there have been programs that have done that. The Gonzagas, the Florida Gulf Coast, VCU and the men's side. I mean, there have been various women's programs that have been able to do it. Kelly Graves did it when he was at Gonzaga. Now he's at Oregon. But like I said, that's what you want to do. You want to emulate what they do at the higher level and get your kids to strive for that standard.
I know you've talked about John Beilein being a mentor for you. Have there been any, and I'm sure there have, but who have been some of your other mentors in terms of just coaching or athletes in general? Who have been some of the mentors that you've had the chance to meet and grow within your lifetime so far, Coach?
Yeah, well, I think every coach I've worked for, I've learned something I learned something from. Lynn Roberts has learned her personal, at Utah, the head coach at Utah now, just her personal relationships with the players and how she handles her kids. Kim Barnes-Rigo of Michigan is really big at culture. Kevin McGuff has had a huge impact on the way I coach and with his offensive mindset and the press defense that we ran at Ohio State. So everywhere I've been, I've learned something from each coach. I think Karen Aston and Yolanda Wells Broughton. Karen Aston used to be the coach at Texas. Now she's at UTSA. Great recruiter. So you learn little recruiting techniques with those people. So everybody I work for, I've learned something from, and you're trying to take something from, and then you try and put it in yourself, and you take the best of everything. That makes you who you are. And so then I study a lot of other people, study a lot of other offensive systems outside of the people I work for, and try and watch a lot of film and do that type of stuff. But yeah, I would say those would be kind of the mentors. And then you have friends that you talk to, like Ron Huey at Houston. I've had an opportunity to talk to Coach Neighbors a couple of times at Arkansas. You just try and ask questions and ask things of people when you see them and pick their brains. I mean, I would say to a young coach, just don't be afraid to walk up and ask questions. People actually like that,
And that's not just that's for everything too. And I love that you said that because I'm an introvert, and my mom at a young age had to always push me to go talk to people or make connections. And I literally, you say Coach Neighbors at Arkansas, my neighbors, I literally just went up to him after a game and introduced myself. And he literally told me, if you ever need anything, just contact me. And
he's a real one. Coach Neighbors is a real one.
He is.
I really appreciate his openness. And I think that helps grows coaches. And I think that helps grows the game. So I want to emulate that from him. Like I say, you try and take something good from other people you see. So if anybody sees me, I love to talk and, share what I know. You know what I mean?
I love that. And I really do love it because everyone's not like that. There have been coaches like Coach Neighbors who have been really kind and have told me, reach out if you ever need anything. And there's also been coaches who just kind of play things off. So I appreciate you for doing that because as a coach, you don't have to. And it's bigger than what you're doing. And I love that you understand that. So continue doing that, please. And thank you.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, I love music, and I love to kind of depict other people's music mind to see who some of their favorite artists and some of their favorite songs. So what do you listen to, Coach? What is some of your day-to-day
music? I listen to everything.
Like?
So you name it. I listen to 80s rock and roll, rap, Christian music, country. I think everything. I like greatness. So if you're really good, I'm going to listen to you. I just like greatness. So, I mean, I think there's nothing it's like going to a Super Bowl or going to a World Series, going to somebody who's great concert. Mm-hmm. So I could go to a Jay-Z concert. I could go to a Luke Combs concert. I want to hear Adele in concert. I've gone to a Beyonce concert. Like when you're the best at what you do, I just like greatness. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate greatness in anything. And so that's kind of my music taste. Coldplay, like greatness, like epic music, epic songs. That's what I like,
I feel a little bit comfortable. There are some people that I love everything too, but some people, when I say like Luke Combs, they were like, "Nah, I can't listen to country music." So I love the music.
Well, I think you're missing out when you say Luke Combs. I think he's greatness. I mean, the way he articulates songs, the way he articulates his message, the way he can sing it, I think that's greatness. The way he can go a cappella. I mean, I know it's pretty common, but everybody knows Fast Cars. What he did with Tracy Morgan's song from the 1980s is amazing. I just think that's greatness. And so, like I said, I want to be associated with greatness. I want to be associated with the best. So my music taste is kind of like that.
I love that. Thank you, Coach. I'm really intrigued to ask you this because you were an assistant coach in Michigan. And of course, you were just recently an assistant coach at The Ohio State University. You were on the spectrum of both ends of one of the most hated rivalries in all of college sports. Mm-hmm. From a Michigan standpoint, what was it like? And as well from an Ohio State standpoint, what was it like? Because I know that those matches are truly intriguing.
So it's very interesting. So when I was at Michigan, they cared about Ohio State, but they were more concerned with this winning the Big Ten in national. Like they're in more of their national reputation, but the Ohio State game did matter. At Ohio State, the Michigan game was the game. Like Ohio State kind of had the mentality, we're going to beat everybody else, but we need to beat Michigan. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of the thing. And I think it's funny, when I went to Ohio State, I think Michigan started developing that mentality. And so once they developed that mentality, we got to beat Ohio State, I think things started changing for them. But I did, like I said, I think both universities are great. I learned from both. And obviously, yes, it's one of the most heated rivalry in sports, the game. So it's very heated, very intense.
What was being under Coach McGuff like? Like you said earlier, and for people that don't know, Ohio State has had a lot of success under him so far during his career, his time there, and have reached really national level heights and just consistent heights as well over the last few years. What was Coach McGuff like, and what were some of the things that he has taught you that you have now continued to kind of adapt to in your life and your coaching career?
I think 3 things I learned from Coach McGuff. Patience. He's one of the most patient people I've ever been around. Mm-hmm. The importance of execution. And I think execution is what wins games. I think that's what makes them successful. And then allowing people to be who they are. So patience, execution, and allowing people to be who they are. And those 3 things, I think, make him one of the best coaches in the country. I think he's very underrated. I don't understand why he doesn't get more props, but he doesn't care about that, which credit to him. But I'm going to praise him, and I'm going to give him all the props all the time because I think he's one of the best. And like I said, he's a mastermind. Patience, execution, and then allowing people to be who they are. Openness.
I know that you're still kind of getting your feet wet as a head coach, but throughout this process, and even as an assistant coach over the years, when you're recruiting a player, what do you look at? Like, what is it there? I know different things go into account to that when I say that, like, but what specifically are you looking for? Is it attitude? Is it communication? Is it the way they play? Is it how they play? Is it how they're coached? Like, what are some of the things that you kind of write down and take notes about when you're recruiting a player to come play for you?
Very simple. It's ABCs: academics, basketball, character. And so academically, they're going to be student athletes. I know in the era of NIL, yeah, they may get paid, they may make a little money, but at the end of the day, like I said, that ball's gonna stop bouncing. Yes, sir. And you should be able to have a degree, have some know-how, and be able to, what are you gonna do after that ball stops bouncing? Can you run a business? Can you go be a doctor? Can you go be a lawyer? Can you go into broadcasting? What are you gonna do after that ball stops bouncing? So academics, obviously they gotta be good basketball players, have the ability to shoot the ball, play hard, have a good IQ, all of that. So basketball, because that's what they're coming to school to do. And then character. Can they be trusted? Do they get along with their teammates? Do they treat the people around right? And so I always say ABCs: academics, basketball, character. That's what I'm looking for in student athletes, and that's what we're trying to bring here at Utah State.
Year one at Utah State, what are your goals that you feel are needed to accomplish in year one as a head coach?
Well, we just want to get better every day. As I said in the press conference, 1% better is kind of what we want to do.
Yes, sir.
So we have drill goal in our practices. There are different goals and standards in the drills that we do. So we can increase those numbers every day. I think that's really, really good. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the goal is always going to be to win the Mountain West Conference. We may not get there day one, but that's always the goal. And so that's what we're aiming for. And so we aim for that. And then whatever happens, happens. But we're process driven and we're just trying to get better every day. And like I told you at the beginning, like Coach Beilein said, be here now, stay focused on the task at hand.
I want to ask you, because you've been around the coaching world for a long time now, and you've kind of seen the ups and ends of how it was and how it is now. What are your thoughts, and how do you kind of work with the way the transfer portal is, the way that NIL is currently running? And I know there's some people that utilize it because you can, but it's also kind of just, I would say, in my opinion, a hot mess right now. But what is it, in your opinion, like as a coach? And as well, how do you think it's going to continue going forward in basketball?
Well, it's here to stay. So you need to evolve and adjust. And I think we need to take a page out of the NFL and NBA book. So I think you treat the portal like free agency. We love free agency frenzies. And so I think the portal has created that type of frenzy in college athletics. So I think you need to look at it like that. And so kind of like you back in the day with junior college, I think you always try and recruit freshmen and you develop them and build. And I think when you recruit freshmen, it's like building through the draft. And then I think portal is you go get what you need in free agency. You sign free agents to make your team better or to put you over the top. And so I think we did a good job of that at Ohio State. And I think we're going to try and do that here. And I think you got to have the right mixture. At the end of the day, it always comes down to culture and team chemistry, but you got to do it the right way. I don't think just build. I mean, some people might build their whole team through the transfer portal, but I would prefer to kind of build it a little bit differently. High school kids as well as to supplement with the portal. So that's kind of my philosophy on it. I think it's great for the game. I think not having to sit out 1 year when you transfer is great for the game. I think if a coach moves on, they get 30 days in the portal. I think that's great for the game. So I think it's just a new age of college athletics. I like it, and I think you got to involve and adapt.
I wanted to ask you this. You are a husband and also a father. First of all, what is that opportunity been like for you? What is it like to be a father to a beautiful young girl? And as well, now that you have that in your life, how do those kind of things affect the decisions you make and things you do before you have to just kind of go and do them?
Well, I've always tried to make good decisions. I think my faith has kind of been the basis of my decision making. That's been my moral code. So my faith kind of leads my moral code. And so you always try to make good decisions. Obviously, as a human being, you're not perfect and you're going to make mistakes. Fatherhood's been great. Love my daughter. Like spending time with her. It's everything you could dreamed of. And my wife is great. My wife's in basketball too, so she understands it and she gets it. And so, but I've always tried to. Obviously, that's very important and that's an adjustment. But I've always tried to kind of make the right decisions and based off my faith and kind of now that's that fatherhood. Excuse me, that fatherhood and husbandhood is kind of you just do it through your faith and try and do what the good word says and do things the right way. That's kind of one of the things I teach the team here is always the right time to do what is right. And that's kind of one of our core values and core beliefs is just always doing what's right and doing things the right way. Yes,
sir. I love that. Coach, if you could have dinner with 5 people, dead or alive, who would they be and why?
Oh, great question. Nick Saban is one. Okay. So I'm into all types of stuff. So Elon Musk would be another.
Okay.
Elon Musk, Nick Saban. Let's see. Jesus Christ. If I could, Jesus Christ, that would be another one. Okay, let's see here. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, Kyle Shanahan, because I'm a diehard 49er fan.
Oh, that hurts me.
And then I don't know who the last one would be, but those are just 4 off the top of my head.
Okay, that 5th one is always a hard one. That Kyle Shanahan hurt me. I love the Nick Saban, though. I think Coach Saban was one of the greatest minds ever, and I feel like he just has so many
compliments. I just like listening to him talk. Yeah. And then Elon Musk, I just think he's the most innovative person in the world. And so I just think he's a genius. His mind's on another planet. So, yeah.
I love that. And there's always kind of a different answer from everyone. And I kind of say it depicts people's minds a little bit. So I kind of see who you are as a person from those answers too. Coach, I want to ask you kind of 2 questions in one that I kind of love to ask kind of closer to the end. But what's one piece of advice you would give to people watching or listening? And that piece of advice can just be about life in general and things that are something that maybe has kind of helped motivate you or get you through things in your lifetime. And as well, I'm very big on legacy, and doing things in a proper manner, in a respectable manner, in a way that people, when they hear my name, think positive things. When people hear Wesley Brooks, what do you want them to always know and remember about who you were as a person?
So the advice is, I just think you just need to have a sense of direction. Mm-hmm. You can't achieve greatness if you don't know where you're going or where you're trying to go. So always begin with the end in mind, you know what I mean? Or have you got to have a goal, have something to go. And then the other thing is, I just want people, you know what I mean? Like I said, my faith is very important to me. So I just want people to say, okay, he lived a Christ-like life, you know, and I think, this kind of, you don't want to beat people over the head with a sermon, but if they can see that in you, you know what I mean? That's really, really, really important to me.
Yes, sir. I love that, Coach. Thank you. There's one more thing that I truly want to ask you. And you may or may not have an answer to this, and that's okay. But I want to ask, what's your end goal? Do you have something else that you want to accomplish, or what's your end goal for you, Coach?
I mean, obviously, I'm a head coach, and you just want to push it, right? You want to push it to how far can I get? Obviously, you got to be here now, and we're present with Utah State. But how far can you get? You know what I mean? Can you be a Nick Saban one day? Can you be a national championship coach one day? So I think, I would love to coach a national championship team, but you got to have good people around you. You got to do a good job with that. I need to prove myself as a coach here at this level. And so I think if you ask me my end game, that would be my end game. Yeah. I'm here now. Now it's okay. I would love to coach at some point a team to a national championship.
Thank you, Coach. Your words have inspired me, and I hope they inspire people watching and listening, because that's the point of this show. And so I want to say thank you a lot for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It's been really good.
Of course, it means the world to me. And I'll say from myself and from hopefully people supporting me that we are in total support of you, and we're wishing the best of luck for you for this season and seasons to come as well. We know you'll do great things. So best of luck, Coach.
Well, thank you, Beilein, and just good luck with your show, and keep doing it, man. You're doing a great job.
I appreciate it, man. Coach, one more thing. If you don't mind sharing social medias with people watching and listening in case they want to follow you or anything like that.
Absolutely. We'll definitely do that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Coach. Thank you guys for listening. We've got a lot going on right now, and hopefully you guys can continue enjoying it. And it's going to be a fun little ride with these 8 episodes left. One more down, so 7 episodes left to go after Coach Brooks. Thank you guys for watching, and continue to support, leave likes, subscribe, comment, and make sure you get you some show merchandise. Remember that show merchandise can always be found in the description of any of our videos. So continue supporting the show. Much love, everybody. Take care, and God bless y'all.